Good evening everyone and welcome along to TTML Division 2. We are here on League Racing TV for Season 4, Round 4 of the Championship as we take in the Canadian Grand Prix from the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. My name is James Hay, going to be taking you through the stream as always. Overbryn Mike has just had his food, he's just taken his plate down, I can hear him in the background, literally. Oh, he's here! I thought you were just walking back to the mic, that was why I was trying to just lay it out a little bit. But Michael Edwards is alongside me in the commentary box. Mike, how you doing?
I am feeling great, as you just said. Just had my food. Now looking forward to some action on track.
You caught us short there, I was taking a drink of water. But yeah, it is. Obviously, we have started the stream a little bit later than normal, and that's because we have got a 5-minute delay to proceedings tonight, so we thought we'd start at dead on 8 o'clock to try and get as many viewers in as possible. Division 3, I think, are getting their fair share at the minute. But a reminder of the standings coming into tonight as well, and I'm just getting them up now. And of course, there's a 1-point gap at the top of the standings between Atlas Coppo and Vapor TDB. 66 points for Isotopic leading the way. TDB in second on 65. CR7 in third on 51. Last week, of course, just to remind you if you didn't tune in, TDB Cam Madionis were your first, second and third in China. Looking down the rest of the grid, Relentless Nolan in 4th on 48, Madionis in 5th on 38, with Noisy 6th on 37, Funky Chicken in 8th on 36, Wesker in 8th on 30, and Elemen and Magnus tied for 9th on 29 points. Jorg is in 11th on 28, with Cam and Sway tied on 12th on 25, Callboy and Hapuli Boy tied on, Callboy 14th on 24, Hapuli Boy 15th on 23, Chionis in 16th on 19, Vettel 17th on 18, AJ 18th on 10, Matt Tibos even in 19th on 9, and Special in 20th on 5. And Mike, we are going to get going in about 20 seconds time, but 1-point gap coming into tonight between Isotopic and TDB could be quite close.
Yeah, it is incredibly close at the top end. Of course, only 1 point in it, and CR7 not too far off it as well. However, one thing I'm a little bit curious about is, can Matt Tibos, a man who last season was in the championship picture, can he bounce back after a pretty poor first 3 races, has got to be said?
Yeah, you'd like to imagine so, to be honest, but I think Division 2 so far this season has just shown that edge of competitiveness over the rest of the divisions, and that's because these guys are as close as we've ever seen in terms of any division here in TTML. And Division 2, of course, living up to expectations because we had Scuba win the championship last season and these guys following on suit from that. But we are about to take in, of course, the circuit Gilles Villeneuve for qualifying. 18 minutes worth of qualifying, no graphic as you can see, but we have got the task system and we're going to provide for you live data out on track around the streets of Montreal, Quebec, Canada, along a man-made island. This track is set in 4.3 miles, 2.7 miles, and then 36 laps awaiting these drivers. 3 DRS zones, 1 down the start-finish straight, 1 down in towards turn 8 and 9, the chicane, and then 1 down in towards turn 13 and 14, the Wall of Champion chicane known to you and me. And, unlike qualifying in Division 1, beautiful blue skies in Division 1, tonight a little bit overcast.
Yeah, and that's something that these guys are going to have to think about here in Canada. It is very common to see changeable conditions, very common to see wet weather. I mean, we were treated to an absolute spectacle a few years ago in real life, if you remember. I believe it was 2011, Jenson Button coming through the field, and that was an exciting race then. And when it's been raining in Canada in the sim racing world, it's absolutely fantastic.
Nobody can argue, I think, with 2011, the best Formula 1 race, I think, on record in the old era of Formula 1. It was just a sensational race. I mean, we had, 5, 6 safety cars, I think, in that race, and the race delayed as well because of the heavy rain. Absolutely unbelievable. No rain tonight. Track temperature of 27 degrees, air temperature 18. Matibos is one of the first out on track. Funky Chicken always seems to be the first one out on track, though, here in Division 2. And the Racing Point man out on track will be looking to try and replicate some good form last week in China. I'm just getting up where he is in the standings. He's 7th in the standings coming into tonight. 36 points. He's only 2 points behind Madionis Jonas, who of course finished third. And Funky Chicken, he has had some consistent results about him. Are we going to see that try and are we going to try and see him replicate that form from China?
Well, I mean, we hope so. I mean, he's had a good start of the season so far, and there's a good platform for him to build on, as he's just coming down into the hairpin at turn 10, going to psych himself up now to get himself underway on his lap. And George James, I reckon you should take us through a lap of Montreal with him.
Of course, Funky Chicken. That was a very high voice, I've got to say. Now coming through the final couple of corners, through 13 and 14, taking very much on the limit as now runs down this 4.3 kilometre circuit around this man-made island, of course, here in Montreal. Coming through turn 1 and then through turn 2, the stands packed with the rafters on the left-hand side with the fans. And Funky Chicken now coming down and towards turn 3 and 4, arguably the trickiest chicane on the circuit. If you invalidate through turn 4, you've got no chance on your lap. Coming through turn 5, where Hartley and Gasly, of course, came in together, and Hartley and Stroll, I should say, through 6 and 7, and now on the second DRS straight up towards turns 8 and 9. Funky Chicken's first sector was quite decent, I've got to say, for a first sector from him, and it was a 19.139 from Matt Tibos is the quickest so far. Funky Chicken now down in towards the hairpin, 40.5 through the middle sector, 21.4 through the middle. Jorg is invalidated on his outlap, but Matt Tibos just trying to see where he is out on track. His middle sector looking quite good, 19.1 as well from Jack out on track. Our new driver, 21.5 from Matt Tibos. Funky Chicken now down in towards 13 and 14. Really on the limit, coming through the wall of Champion Chicane, nearly hitting the wall. It nearly cost him the win. Cam has retired from the session, coming out through turn 3. Funky Chicken with the 108.5. We're going to run on board with Funky Chicken though. Still, just seeing where Cam has lost it. He's coming through turn 3, and there he is. And there's no wheels off the car, so must just be suspension damage, but it's enough to put him out of the qualifying session.
Fantastic lap there from Matt Tibos on those mediums.
Oh, wow.
Only a 10th off Funky Chicken.
Yeah, good lap, 108.6, Funky Chicken 108.5. I've got to say though, Funky Chicken's lap is not representative of a time around here. Jack Cummins there in third, Noisy on a lap, Isotopic on laps as well, CR7 on a lap. Just trying to see actually if there's anybody coming through the final sector. I don't think there is. I think Jorg... Noisy is, yeah, Noisy coming through the final couple of corners, through on a set of mediums. I think this could be quickest actually. Noisy coming across the line, ignore me, 109 flat, slowest.
Yeah, he absolutely butchered the final chicane and lost so much time through there. He'll definitely be looking to improve that as the guy Isotopic, the championship leader, with DRS wide open on the run down now to turns 13 and 14. A bit hesitant on the entry. But he keeps it out of the wall, and to the line, what's this going to be for the Ferrari? It's going to be a 9.1.
Yeah, not competitive at all, 109.1. Our Beauty Boys through the middle sector on a set of mediums, 41.2 in total, 21.7 in the middle sector. I was expecting these guys, that's more like it. Wesker, 108.2 goes quick as the Austrian out on top, but that is more like it. 108.2, we should be seeing 107s from these guys, I've got to say. Beauty Boy, again, another one hesitant out the final corner, and the Finn now runs to the line. He's going to be the slowest of the evening so far, to 109.997 from her Beauty Boy out on track. As TDB's on a lap.
He just invalidated in the final chicane.
So unfortunate, would have been quickest. 108.115. It would have been from TDB, and he would have went quickest. So watch out for him as we go through the qualifying session. Nearly 6 minutes gone, 5.5 minutes roughly. Westgrad on top, Funky Chicken in second. Matt Tibos in third. Sway has just started up, but he's got this next lap invalidated.
Yeah, and obviously that's going to be a key around this track. Like, you really want to keep it, you want to get time on the board and keep the invalidations down to a minimum, because you can put yourself under some serious pressure if you can't keep it within the track limits and at least get a time on the board.
Division 4 champion from last season, Magnus now on a lap, coming through the end of the first sector, 19.2 through the first sector from Magnus, one of the quickest we've seen so far, and now Magnus coming out through 6 and 7. On the run up towards turns 8 and 9, another chicane. This track littered with chicanes, 4 of them out on track if you don't count turns 1 and 2. Magnus now coming through turn 8 and 9, beautiful on the power. This is a quick lap for Magnus, coming through the middle sector to 40.9 through the middle sector. not as quick as what we would have imagined it. 21.6 through the middle sector. CR7 there just getting out of the way on his outlap, but now Magnus running down the hill as the sun absolutely bursts through the clouds here in Canada, in Montreal. Westgrad on top, Funky Chicken second, Matt Tibos in third. Magnus though will continue to run on board with this lap, coming into the wall of Champion Chicane, and that's an invalidation coming through turn 14. Took turn 13 perfectly, and then he gets the invalidation through turn 14, and it would have put him 5th with that lap.
Yeah, he just he got the entry right. I think he just misjudged where he needed to turn in mid-corner there.
I've just seen the task system. The man on board, we're on board with now Chionis, purple, first and middle sector. So this could be quite quick from Chionis. It is about 8 seconds from the final chicane to the line. He go quicker than Wesker, comes across the line, and he doesn't go quicker than Wesker, in fact, 0.05 of a second. And he lost the time on that lap in the final sector. 27.8 compared to 27.6 from Wesker. Just comes to show, if you take a little bit more speed coming through the final chicane and don't invalidate, you might get pole.
Yep, exactly. And I just opened the stream up, and I just got a crucial bit of information for the start of the race. Yes.
What tyres though, I wonder? Is it going to be inters or is it going to be full wet? If it's full wet, we're going to see a 2011 deluge, I think. If it's inters, it shouldn't be too bad, because I think it'll dry up quite quickly around a track like this. It normally takes, I've commentated around here plenty before, and it normally means that we're going to get rain to about lap 10, and then it's going to be dry, as Matt Tibos goes to the top of the standings. Williams 1-2 at this stage.
Yeah, and I'm just on board with Mad Jonas. Gets a big snap of oversteer on the exit of the final corner, but it doesn't slow him down enough. He does get provisional pole position right now.
Absolutely typical. I'll go scrolling down from him, and then he sets the quickest lap. Matt Jonas out on top of the 108 flat. Matt Tibble second with the 108.2, and Weskerins third with the 108.2 as well. Jonas as well, 108.2. So quite close towards the top end of the field. A lot of invalidations, though, from guys out on track. I mean, Cowboy's coming through the final couple of corners of just starting his lap now. The Irishman, he invalidated his previous lap. It was a 119 flat, so he backed off that lap. But he is a driver that I think could try and excel around here. Jorg's on a lap, and I think Vettel has just started a lap as well. I think Jorg is just on a lap through the first sector, and yeah, he's coming through now turn 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, we got Isotopic now coming towards the line. He is up on his time, I saw that in the middle sector, but it's not enough to get him enough up the order, I don't think.
Quickest first sector of the evening is Jorg, 18.9 through the first sector from Jorg, as he now comes through turns 8 and 9 out on track, and then up the hill in towards turn number 10. And this is looking quite quick, a 40.7 through the middle sector. You can see on your screen, just seeing where that is in terms of the task system, 21.7 through the middle sector from Jorg. So he's right on the limit, and he needs to try and fly this wall of champion chicane if he is going to try and get pole. Matt Jonas out on top, Matt Tibos second, Wesker third, as we are more than halfway through qualifying. Jorg into the final two corners, hits nearly the wall on the right hand side, but Jorg now to the line. I think he'll go around 6th maybe with this. Oh, perfect!
Oh,
108.5!
Pinpoint accuracy there from you, James.
I was honestly not predicting him. Vettel's just going behind as well, goes 7th, so good lap there by the German. But you're going 6th, 108.5. Really shocked by the lap times, though. I'm expecting a lot quicker times. Speaking of quick times, Vapor TDB up in the middle sector.
Yep, as he tries to get the best run possible out of the hairpin. DRS wide open now. And you really have to throw the car into this final chicane, really get the most out of it, and he does, but just can't commit enough in the second phase. You're on fire.
Second time I got that right tonight. 108.5. Yeah, that speed, the loss of speed through the final corner. If he didn't lose that speed, that cost him what, half a second? I would say maybe 4 or 5 tenths of a second. TDB should have gone quickest with that lap, but he didn't.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that we are looking at now is we did predict in the 7s, but obviously a wet start to the race. Maybe these guys are running full wet setups, because I just looked in the chat once again. It says it's going to be heavy rain, the light rain, the dry. So we are getting a 2011 year.
Fantastic stuff. I'm really excited to see that. Wesker is purple though through the middle sector. Oh, I thought he attacked the chicane a little bit too much, but I think this is a good lap from Wesker. He might go second with this. Comes across the line. And he doesn't. He doesn't even improve in the end. Wesker. Tionis is out of the middle sector as well, a 10th down. So I'll be watching him very closely. He lost the speed as well on his lap. Now coming through and toward the wall of champions. Still Mad Jonas out on top. Is that lap time beatable? Will the guys be thinking out on track? It could be. Jonas absolutely flies the chicane. Nearly overcommits on the exit. Don't think he's going to improve. Jonas across the line. And he doesn't improve. 400s down. He remains in 4th.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that's the key in the final chicane. You have to commit. You have to throw the car in as well. On board right now with, well, I'm on board with Magnus and commits in the first part, but just a little bit hesitant in the second part. But it is going to be a lap time on the board for him.
I was going to say 6th again there, but I didn't. 12th it is. So maybe 6 times 2 is.
12.
Yeah.
I mean, it's quick maths.
Quick maths. So we've got to be quick thinking here in the commentary box. Mad Jonas out on top, the Matt Tibble second, Wesker in third. I think both of the Williams are actually on laps. Wesker getting out of the way. Matt Tibble still 2 tenths down out of the middle sector. Now in towards the final corner. His connection looking a bit sly now coming towards the line. I think this might be quickest. Matt Tibble comes across the line. Oh no, 108.2. The lag failed me there.
He improved by 1,000th of a second.
Well, minimal improvements could bring you second position. That's what you got to think. Matt Jonas still out on top. Matt Tibble second. Wesker in third. If you are just tuning in, you really haven't missed much. Isotopic was 3 tenths up, and he's just invalidated coming through turn number 4. Turn 4 really seems to be that pinch point on the circuit where you pick up a lot of invalidations on your lap. I think Noisy is coming in towards the pit lane. Yeah, Noisy is in. I thought he was on a lap. 108.246 for him. Plenty of drivers though, Mike, within the 108.2, 700ths of a second, separating, what, 4 drivers? Matt Tibbles down to Tionis?
Yeah, it's incredibly close in that battle for second place, and quite funny that we're seeing 2 Williams there, the same team, and then we got 2 Ferrari engined cars, and it's going to be very interesting, I think.
It will be very interesting, I think. Yeah, Matt Tibbles and Wesker obviously in the same team in both. The Williams now running down into the pit lane. Matt Tibbles. Beautiful blue skies now. It says it's cloudy out on track. It is cloudy, but the sun is beginning to come out the blue sky, and the air temperature and track temperature, crucially, rising as well, which should eke out a few improvements on the laps out on track. Mad Jonas, I'm not sure if he's just finished a lap or if he's just going on one. I think Mad Jonas might actually be going on one. Yeah, he's coming through turn 3 and 4, then in towards turn 5. We'll see what his first sector's like. And it's a 19 flat, and he's a 10th down through the first sector. It looks like he degraded the speed a little bit, but Mad Jonas again nearly getting caught on the curve coming out of 7, and now on the run up towards turns 8 and 9, and missed a gear shift there. You saw him high revving 6th gear, then in towards 7th, and that really cost him some speed down the straight. Mad Jonas now coming through the middle sector. We'll see how quick this is. It's a purple middle. How's he purple when he missed a gear shift?
Absolutely incredible. He finds times by missing gears. Yeah, backed off, and I think he's just getting a sight in for his final run.
Yeah, he is. He has to be. Mad Jonas though still out on top. We have pretty much. He literally set his lap time about 5 minutes into the session, and nobody has beaten this lap time just yet. A Pewdie Boy is on a lap. He's 300s up coming through the first sector. We're on board with him. Don't think TDB and Yoga on lap times, if I'm not mistaken. There's a Pewdie Boy.
No, sorry, he's just starting the lap.
Yeah, I think he was about 4 seconds down when I last rode on board with him. A Pewdie Boy now coming through turns 8 and 9. It's quick through turn 8 and 9, actually. We'll see what his middle sector is like. And to 40.5, he's 2.5 tenths up. So a Pewdie Boy on a good lap. It's a 21.3, one of the quickest middle sectors we've seen so far this evening. And a Pewdie Boy now could be lying his way up towards that infamous 6th position, I think. Towards the likes of Noisy and towards the likes of Tionis as well. All depends on the wall of champion chicane, and it all depends on how much commitment he's going to take. It's fully committed, coming through the corner, now through toward the line, and a PewDiePie on a really good lap time here, comes across the line, and he goes 9th, the 108.5, not quite the 6th position as I imagined, but a 108.5, only puts him 1300ths of a second off his teammate, who was invalid through the middle sector.
Yeah, I think for PewDiePie there in that final chicane, just turned in a slight bit too late, and he could have had a little bit more time there if he had stuck closer to the inside on the run down towards the line. But he went over to the racing line, which loses you a few crucial hundredths of a second.
Wesker is on a lap. I think Sway is just ahead of him out on track, possibly. Is now Wesker through the middle sector, 600ths up. Through the middle sector, I was expecting a little bit more improvement. Really committed though, coming through the hairpin. That's very good in terms of speed. And now runs down towards the final couple of corners. CR7, by the way, set the fastest first sector of anyone out on track in 18.7. Out on track from him, so he'll be one to watch as Wesker now comes through the final corner. That is commitment and a half. Coming through the wall of champion chicane. Sway goes top. Wesker, can he respond? He doesn't, he's 1200ths down. Sway on top, a 107.8. He should be the man we're riding on board with. CR7, though, is purple once again in the middle sector. In fact, LMN is purple in the middle sector. So these two, who haven't set lap times just yet, might be the case for pole. CR7 invalidates, coming out through the final couple of corners. We're on board with LMN then. LMN, the Dane, is coming down in towards the final couple of corners as well. He might be the one to watch. We've got Mad Jonas on lap times as well. LMN really committed through the final chicane. I'm thinking this might go quickest. Element to the line, and he does. It's a 107.7. But what is Mad Jonas doing? What is Matt Tibos doing as well? Matt Tibos is 700ths up. Now coming through the final chicane. That's commitment again from Matt Tibos. Runs towards the line. I think he'll go third with this. Comes across the line. He does go third. A 108 flat. Alfa Romeo to the line is Jorg. He finishes his lap time. Wesker is down on his. And Mad Jonas is down on his as well. I'm not sure if we're going to see, actually, any improvement from anyone. Jonas, a 10th and a half up though, an 8th. Could he get his way up toward the likes of Mad Jonas on track? Ferrari now through the final two corners. Element still out on top, Sway second, Matt Tibos in third, literally down into the last breath for qualifying. Jonas goes third, a 107.9. Isotopic goes 9th and behind as well. Mad Jonas to the line, invalidates. Noisy 3,000s up through the middle sector. TDB 700s up through the middle sector. Funky Chicken's not on a lap, Cowboy not on a lap, CR7 not on a lap, and crashes in fact coming through the final corner. So the only man to watch then is Noisy, I think. Noisy, TDB invalidated as well. Noisy really committed through the final corner. Noisy now toward the line. And he goes fourth. 107.993 and crashing into the wall as TDB. That is the end of qualifying. LMN is out on top. The Dane takes pole. A 107.7. Sway in second with the 107.8. And Jonas in third, beating Noisy by 5 thousandths of a second for third.
Yeah, very close when it came to the end. Then we saw some clutch lap times there from Element and Sway to get lap times on the board. CR7 going to be disappointed that he couldn't get a lap time on the board down there, starting in 17th, and Cam obviously crashing out very early on in the session. Is going to be upset with that as well.
Whoever that Sway, your camera angle, that camera angle was just disgusting. It was the rear end of the car, basically. It was chase cam. Elements out on top, Sway in second, Jonas in third. I'm glad you really didn't see that, Mike, to be honest. Elements out on top, though. Sway in second, Jonas in third, Noisy in fourth with Matt Tibos fifth, Mad Jonas in sixth, Wesker seventh with Jorgen 8th, only 1,000th off him in the end. Isotopic in ninth, Jack on his debut in 10th with Magnus in 11th, TDB 12th, a PewDiePie 13th, Vettel 14th, Funky Chicken in 15th, Callboy 16th. They set the lap times 9/10 of a second, just less than, separating the guys who set laps. CR7 and Cam crashing out the session very early on, and CR7 not getting a valid lap time in, and he starts right down the back of the field.
Yep, it's going to be a long day for both CR7 and Cam here today.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at the task system, by the way, as the end of qualifying approach. Fastest first sector was Sway in 18.8. Fastest middle sector was LMN 21.1. And Wesker 27.6 in the middle sector was the quickest final sector. As the gods have now befallen us, and it's absolutely teeming down out on track. 2011 vibes in the comment section?
I mean, if it is 2011 vibes, shall we take a 2-hour break?
We could do. I think if we took a 2-hour break, Maze wouldn't be that happy, though, to be honest. I think we'd be getting the sack for sure. Cam, by the way, was saying he's bored. 20th to 1st. Well, it's going to be 19th to 1st, it seems, out on track. And Colin, literally thinking what everybody is now probably going to be saying in the comment section, this race could be a belter. It could be. Race of the season?
Absolutely. Canada in the wet, changeable conditions. We have no idea if it's going to get the dry, if it's wet stint does. But let's find out as we see what tyres everyone's on. I think it is full wets.
It is full wet compounded tyres, yeah. Full wets for everyone out on track. The 18 drivers now going to be taking in the 4.3 kilometre circuit. 35 lap time, 35 laps around here. I think I said 36 earlier on. I should really do my maths. 35 laps out on track. I commentated on this track on Tuesday as well, and you thought I would have known that by now, but no, I didn't. Element though out on top, Swain second, Jonathan third, and the big advantage actually, because these guys qualified on that set, or the big disadvantage I should say, these guys qualified on that set of dry tyre. What does it take to transition from dry compounded tyres to wet compounded tyres basically within 5 minutes?
It definitely takes its toll. I mean, you have to adjust how you drive. You got to feather the throttle more. You got to be a little bit earlier on the brakes. You got to be easier on the brakes. Got to lock up. For those that don't run ABS, a lockup can be absolutely desperate. I can't say the word.
Desperation.
It can.
Desperate.
No, not that word. I can say desperate. Detrimental. I tried it.
Detrimental.
That's the word.
we got there in the end. We got there. Just figuring it out live on commentary made us think of the word. Fantastic stuff. 35 laps though. Looking further down the field though, who would your eyes be towards to try and make their way up the field? I mean, we've got Isotopic Championship leader in 9th, TDB in 12th. I'd be more drawn towards TDB to try and make progress.
Yeah, TDB is the one that I'm going to be keeping my eyes on. Cam as well, CR7 as well, both of them down at the back. Isotopic, we saw how good he was in the wet at Silverstone. Maybe wet weather specialist?
Yeah, I know Magnus as well. We had a few Division 4 races last season as well, and Magnus could be one to watch as well. I'll not ask you for top 3 tonight, but we have better get going, of course, here in Canada. 35 laps awaiting these guys out on track around this 4.3 kilometre circuit. The graphics just glitch on the left-hand side, as they normally do, and we are about to get going. The 5 red lights now on here in Canada. Round 4 of the championship about to begin. And it's lights out and away we go. Sway gets a better start than Element, and Element's going to try and cut across towards turn 1, but it's not enough, and I think Sway just getting a little bit under the standing border coming through turn 1. Now on the outside line, on the inside line in towards 2. Sway, I think, has got this as a Williams going wide. I think that's Matt Tibos and Wesker fighting side by side further down the field, but Element is fighting still with the leader of the race, of course, and now the leader of the race is that man from pole position. It's Sway. Sway, second position, up to first as a contact further down in the background, I think, and it's a Haas run. I think it's Vettel that is round further down. Typical Canada luck for Vettel there, but Sway out on top. Element second, Jonathan third. Noisy dropping down the field is Matt Tibos. I'm not sure if there's an issue, and I think he's actually got been contacted with another driver there. I'm not sure who it was. The camera really didn't pick up that, but Matt Tibos all the way down to 14th. His wretched luck continues, but Sway absolutely mastered that start, and he's 7/10 clear, running into the hairpin.
Yep, Sway doing fantastic, but look at TDB, he's already up 7th, and
Oh,
he's down the inside of Wesker.
Wesker nearly collected Noisy and all of that as well. Side by side they go, coming out of the hairpin, and TDB is through, and he's into 6th position. I did say watch out for him at the start. I mean, he's up 6 positions. I'm not even in towards the end of lap 1. This is unbelievable. Wesker though on the outside line. This is going to be treacherous in the wet conditions. And luckily, they've got wits about them, and TDB stays in 6th position. But for how long? Wesker's got a great one. In fact, TDB just had a little bit of oversteer coming out the final corner. Now Jorg side by side with them, down the inside and towards turn 1. Can he get the move done? He's on the outside line now for 2. He's going to be chumped up the bit. TDB is into 7th position. Looking further down the field, though, Funky Chicken is into the pit lane. Cam in for a set of inters. That's way too early.
Mark, that's with that big snap of oversteer there, almost catching
on
Jack
again.
out in the
Oh
back.
no! Jack's going to go around the outside through turn 5. This is brilliant from Jack. Magnus had a mistake, but Jack ran the outside. Magnus is still trying to hold it, though. Coming round 6 and 7. This is brilliant racing between them both. The brick and the turn. And now it's 3 wide. Matt Tibos on the inside line. Really running adjacent to the pit wall. He's not going to get Jack. He is going to get Magnus, though. Magnus loses 2 positions for the price of 1. Jack with a masterful move up to 11th on his debut. And Matt Tibos making his way back from 14th up to 12th. Callboy going side by side with CR7 in the meantime, and that's Magnus, I think, looking down the inside of Matt Tibos, if I'm not mistaken, and CR7 gets the move done on Callboy as Cam is through on Funky Chicken. And is he catching? I think he is. Cam is catching.
Yeah, Cam is absolutely flying right now on those intermediate, so it definitely is.
Oh my God. We're at the crossover period.
Yeah, it is 2011 all over again. Who knows what tires to go on?
Yeah, Cam has literally caught about 0.6 of a second just within 1 goal there. CR7 and Magnus nearly running side by side in the background of shot, but lap 3 we go, and Sway leads the way. Element in 2nd, Sionis in 3rd. Take a breath, everyone. We're still here, 3 laps in, and Sway leads the way. Element 2nd, Sionis in 3rd. But that man there, Cam, who came into the pit lane, I'm not sure if he got front wing damage, he must have, but Cam now, 18.5 seconds. It looks borderline inters, to be honest.
Yeah, he's just losing a bit of time and then he's gaining it again on the traction on the exit. And I think, well, by the end of this lap, it should be intermediate conditions. Look how much time he gained there through the chicane, and this is going to be massive, as when he crosses the line with that fastest lap, that's going to be alarm bells to the likes of Sway, Element, Jonas, Noisy, Wesker, TDB, absolute alarm bells going off when this guy crosses the line.
Yeah, speaking of which, Matt Jonas on the back of Jonas looking to try and get the move done. If anybody's listening to the stream, by the way, do not focus on your driving. Just don't listen to us being B-Tech in terms of our strategies, because you never know, you might end up in the wall. Knowing that, Isotopic's going side by side, I think, with Jorg coming across the line, and now dives it down the inside line. Jorg cuts across, Jorg stays in position. Matt Tibos and Jack going side by side, then down in towards turn 3. Vettel, I think, has taken the instinctive option and probably gone in for a set of inters. Yeah, Greenwall tyres out now. Vettel out on a set of inters, and of course these set of intermediate compounded tyres can dispose of water at 25 litres per water a second out on track. The wets can do it 75 litres a second, but the rain looks like, to me, it's slightly easing off, and Vettel is ahead of Cam, which is crucial. And Jack and Matt Tibble side by side. Matt Tibble now through, and he's into 11th.
Yep, Vettel, very crucial. He got out ahead of Cam. Of course, Vettel being the guy who can react better to Cam's pace on the inters, but with that fast lap, I think we're going to start to see everyone in. It's, I believe, with PewDiePie and Isotopic there side by side momentarily.
Yeah, LMN's catching Sway for the lead of the race as well. We'll see what they're going to do. Sway is in. Sway is in from the lead of the race. Jonas is going to not follow suit. Matt Jonas is in. Noisy, I think, is staying out, and he got really scribbly on that final corner. Vettel is catching. Tenfold on Callboy, though, out on track. It's 15.2 seconds. It was 17 seconds at the start of this lap. Magnus has picked up a penalty. These guys coming in, is it too early for them, or is it perfect? It looks to me as if the rain's easing, which would assume to me as if it is intermediate conditions. Sway's out in clear air. He's behind Callboy, but LMN, the gap, 16 seconds is the gap. Watch out for that gap if LMN comes in this lap. He has to, surely.
Yeah, he has to respond, and see, I think I think now everyone will be thinking, yes, it's intermediate conditions right now, because look at the racing line. It's definitely time for Inders if you look at the racing line, but all these guys going to go for it.
Yeah, the rain is easy now on track, but Element's quickest through the middle sector. And he's pulled... he's on an absolute fly of a lap, I've got to say. He is on an in-lap and he's pushing. 2.7 seconds now the gap. It was 2 seconds, and Sway's 15.9 behind. Yeah, LMN are leading the way. Jonathan second, Noisy third, TDB in fourth, and LMN into the pit lane. And this is where we get to see if it's Inters or if the undercut is going to work.
TDB out though.
Interesting. Oh, Element's been held in the pits. Element's been held in the pits. I think that was York coming through just in front of him. And York has been held in the pits. Sway's out the final corner, and Sway's going to be through. Sway is going to be through an Element. It could be side by side, possibly. I think Sway's just got this, though. Element is speeding out the pit lane. This is going to be tight. Element literally comes in the gap between Sway and Madionis. And Madionis is the one that's really gained. Sionis and Wesker are side by side, pretty much coming out the pit lane. But Element... the undercut has worked. Sway has just picked up damage. Right side end plate damage on the car, and Sway now literally said he was at the advantage. Now he's at a disadvantage, a considerable one, especially because the rain's easing, and especially now because he's got right side end plate damage.
Yeah, and LMN would have seen that damage fly off Sway's car, and his eyes are going to be like dinner plates right now as he looks at the back, ready to pounce on his Alpha Tauri.
I don't think I've heard anybody say that in commentary before. Element now down the inside line. Sway runs out wide though, and he can't get the car stopped. Watch out for Madionis though. He's got clear in terms of the damage as well. 38% of damage for Sway out on track. Cam is on 23%. Worn tyres on those Inters. Those wheels are now overheating as now Element absolutely sides past on Sway, and he's now through and he's into the net lead of the race because TDB is in the pit lane, and TDB now comes out of the pit lane. He's going to rejoin, I think, around Wesker Noisy sort of area, I think.
Madionis down the inside of Sway, gets the move done into turn one. Good move there from Madionis.
Yeah, Sway really can't fight the side-by-side, and as well Matt Tibos and a Pewdie Boy going side-by-side, and Matt Tibos all the way around the outside, comes round the outside and goes through, and he's into 8th position. TDB, pretty much where I said, as Sway's picked up a 3-second time penalty now, out on track. We'll have a look at the penalties in just a second, but Element is out on top, Madionis second, and Sway in third, but for how long? Because Sway's really struggling on that set of intermediate, well, not on the set of intermediates, he is fine on the set of inters. It's his damage that is really costing him the time, and if the DRS was enabled, he'd be losing the time to Madionis and giving all of these guys in behind 3 DRS as Noisy just in behind picks up a 3-second time limit. But surely if you were Chonis, you'd probably get the move done sooner rather than later. Otherwise, you could get backed up into the pack and you could have Wesker forcing you through the corner like he was doing there.
Yeah, and TDB went a little bit deep into the hairpin, tried to get the car straightened up so he could really attack, but just a bit too far back as Tionas now going to get through. And
Sway's going to let all of these through, I think. Yeah, Sway's left through Wesker and has stayed ahead of TDB. So, this is crucial. Isotopic, by the way, championship leader down in 16th, out of the pit lane, and TDB's up in 6th. TDB is currently net championship leader going into next week, if it stays as it is. It will not stay as it is though, because we've got too far in this race to go. Element still leads the way, Madionis second, Tionas in third, Wesker in fourth, and TDB, yes, Sway getting a real snap of oversteer, but now TDB could have a sensational run. He could have just went around the outside then. Sway just comes across him, and TDB is not going to like that. And look at Noisy. Noisy is now through. And that was just pure awkwardness, I think, between Sway and TDB, as Vettel and CR7 are side by side, and Vettel's actually let through, I think, CR7 out on track. But TDB getting held up big time there. I don't think he's got damage. He hasn't got damage showing to me. Cam, Vettel and Magnus do, as well as out on track as Sway. But TDB held up in that. He is going to be one very unhappy bunny because of Sway's actions there coming through turn 5. It's just because I think TDB got a better run and he tried to go around the outside line and there was no room.
Yeah, and the thing is, with damage as well, he's just going to be understeering through every single corner of Sway. And obviously you gotta be alert to that if you're TDB, Noisy, or if you're Matt Tibos now, the next in line to catch up to the back of Sway.
Sway, I think, will probably come in earlier than what we might be suggesting in terms of the tyres, because I said around lap 10 on a set of inters, and yeah, look what's happened. We'll literally have pitted in, and it literally became inters like 3-4 laps into the race. TDB, out on track, has got no penalties. There are the penalties, by the way, guys, out on track. Jonas, Wesker, Noisy, Sway, Cam at CR7 and Cowboy, all 3 seconds. Magnus 5 seconds for speeding into the pit lane. The rain still easy though, out on track. It says light rain now, 23 degrees track temperature, 18 degrees in terms of air temperature. That is only going to go up and up and up. And if there's light rain, I'm not sure how much light rain we had in terms of the minutes, but if my calculations are right, and this light rain is to stop in from about 15 minutes when it started, we should be looking at pit stops around lap 16, 17 as Cam is in the wall.
Oh, it's been an absolute nightmare for Cam.
Gets the car spun round and yeah, got damaged both end plates, front wing completely off, and it's on track as well, the front wing, and I'm surprised there's been no VSC at least to be deployed for that. Very strange indeed. Yet we get a collision, like in Division 1, coming through the hairpin, quite literally, where 2 drivers went up, speeding off onto the grass on the right-hand side as Cam literally nearly does what I've just said out on track. He went speeding off nearly in towards the grass, but two drivers in Division 1 did that, and a full safety car was deployed, even though it was on the grass, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, as Vettel picks up a 3-second time penalty.
Camera tyres.
Yep, in the pits.
Oh, I tell you what, Mike. Here's TDB! Oh my god almighty! Jeez Louise! I thought he nearly lost it into the wall. TDB, what a recovery! I was just about to say he was going to get the move done on Wesker. But just ignore that now. TDB, maybe with one of the saves of the race so far. That was literally not inches apart from the wall. It was like feet apart still from the wall. But the way he lost it, he was going to go into the wall if he didn't recover it. And he did recover it, and he's still in 5th.
Yeah, and that was a fantastic save there from TDB. I was on board with TDB the entire time while I was talking. Yeah, TDB looking like he wants to try and get through. So I think he's got the pace. If he gets ahead of Jonas and Wesker, yeah, I think he's got the pace to catch up the Jonas and Alamen at the front.
It's one thing to overtake, it's one thing to get onto the back of a driver around here, as well as any other track, and it's another thing to try and overtake. And I think TDB, yeah, he has got the pace. It is no question about that he's got the pace, but he has got to be very patient. He's got the freshest tyres out of everyone, and he's pretty much on the same strategy by a lap compared to these guys ahead of him. And he's on the fresher tyres, and look at him, he's right on the back of Wesker. Is he going to try and do exactly what he did last time around? No, more control this time, and now he's not going to lunge for the move, maybe into the hairpin, possibly, or down and towards turn 13 are ways that he can try and get through. Jonas is pulling ahead though up the road. It's 9/10 of a second. Wesker's 4th, TDB in 5th, and TDB currently is not going to go for the lunge down and towards. But TDB's getting held up now. He's got to try and get a move on. There's Noisy and there's Matt Tibos on the back of him, and they're just joining onto the back of this ever-increasing queue.
Yeah, and just looking at the tyre wear at the moment, Wesker already at 28% on the rear left tyre, 26 on the rear right, and he's looking worse for wear right now in terms of the tyres.
He is losing, yeah, he is really worse in terms of his tyres, and I think it's around pretty much every single track. I know China last week, his tyre wear wasn't that great as well for Wesker, and TDB is going to try and stamp on this right now because he's on the back. Noisy and Matt Tebos are not really getting any closer. Isotopic and Cowboy having a good scrap further down the field. We saw a little bit of a spin there, a little bit of a slide. I think it was from Noisy out on track. He just lost a little bit of time. Wesker still 4th, TDB in 5th, but out on track, there's not really much in terms of the overtaking. But what I can say is Element's beginning to pull away from Mad Jonas.
Yeah, I think Mad Jonas, he's teetering around that 1 second gap. It's going up to a second and a tenth, and then it goes down to 9/10. But yeah, right now I think LMN, he's just being comfortable right now. He's just playing this smart, not taking the risks.
Yep, if you take the risk, you do not get the reward. It's as simple as that. And we are a third of the way through now here in Canada. Lap 13 about to begin as LMN leads the way. Matt Jonas in second, Jonas in third, Wesker fourth, TDB in fifth, man who we're on board with right now on the back of Wesker. Noisy in sixth, Matt Tibble seventh, Beauty Boy eighth, Jack in ninth, CR7 up positions, up into 10th. And looking at the position gains as well, 7 gained for CR7, the most gained of anyone in this race. Elemen and Jonas are the only ones that have stayed in position. Everyone else are either positive and negative in terms of their position gains. Swain 11th, by the way, Jorgen 12th, Callboy 13th, that's Topic 14th, Magnus, Funky Chicken, Vettel, Oil 17 runners at this stage. But Elemen with an element of control over this race. Mad Jonas in second, Jonas in third. TDB, though, is still looking onto the back of Wesker, and now is the time to go for TDB. He has got to time this right.
Yeah, he's got to get a pass. He can't waste any more time behind Wesker. He knows that right now he's better off in terms of penalties, but that's not the point. He needs to get a pass. He's got too much pace to be stuck behind him.
Or has he got enough? He's got enough pace to get onto the backman, but has he got enough pace to actually overtake? That's the thing. 33% in terms of ERS. Wesker's much better in terms of his ERS consumption, so that might be why Wesker's, you just see him just pulling out the slipstream there slightly, pulls away all the way down in towards the final corner, the final 2 corners I should say. TDB is now 9/10 behind, and all of a sudden Wesker has just applied that pressure, has got onto the back pretty much of Jonas as Jorgen Sway, I think, side by side, and Sway is letting cars through. I thought he lost it there actually, but he didn't. Isotopics on the back of Callboy now for 12th, but Sway really not enjoying it out on track. If I was him though, would you be inclined to come in for a set of dry tyres? Because it's only going to get drier towards the end of the race.
I wouldn't come in now.
Oh yeah, won't come in now.
I think that's the whole reason why he's staying out there. He thinks that if he can just get to the dry period, because the rain is definitely slowing, the track is starting to improve. The longer he can, survive with this wind damage. You just spotted something?
TDB, I thought he was going to go right into the back of Wesker there. He hasn't. Luckily for him, he hasn't. But now TDB opens up the overtake to try and get the move done. But again, he's not close enough. Somebody that is close enough, though, could be Matt Tibos on the back of Noisy. 2.5/10 running down in towards the final couple of corners through 13 and 14 once again. And none of them close enough to actually get the move done. CR7 on the back of Jack. Jack, really impressive in his debut so far. And CR7 just cuts the final corner, picks up another 3-second time penalty for him out on track. But Jack really impressing me in terms of his performance so far. Yeah, he might have lost a few positions out on track since his start. In fact, he actually gained 1 position. I'll correct that. 1 position gain for Jack. But CR7, we know he's quick. Jack has got to weather this storm and weather this pressure before it starts drying up. Because, I'll say this now, I think we're 3 laps away from seeing dries.
You're predicting 3, I'm going to predict 4 as Matt Tibos' possession.
Yeah, Matt Tibos' connection has befallen him, it seems, once again out on track as TDB is side by side with Wesker into the hairpin, just in the foreground, a shot there. TDB now down the inside line, Wesker on the outside line. Is TDB going to get this? They're side by side. I think the rain has stopped now, or the rain is still going actually out on track, but look at the dry patches out on track. He needs to get this move done. They nearly moved across on each other, and Wesker's just got the legs to try and seal the deal. Down in towards the final quarter, Wesker still stays in P4. TDB is close enough. The rain has now stopped out on track, and I think my prediction of being 3 laps, we're 2 laps out now, I think, from dries. I said lap 16, 17, a Beauty Boy taking the chance, it seems. He's into the pit lane. Is he going to be in for a front wing change and for a set of dries? I think he is. He's going to be the first onto a set of dries, and in fact, no, he's befallen me, and he's gone into a set of inters, which is the wrong decision.
Yeah, 100% the wrong decision, and I'm not gonna lie, I think it's already dry enough for dries.
It's not. Look at the spray. Look at the spray out on track. There's still a lot of spray out on track, but I honestly think we are moments away from seeing dry running out on track. And the Beauty Boy is out back in 17th position. We see the graphics to the left-hand side as Matt Tibos has rejoined in 7th. Jack is nowhere near him, luckily, as Matt Tibos takes control of his car, and he's now in 7th. TDB again, right on the back of Wesker. Wesker just runs out wide. Actually, it could be a couple more laps beyond what I predicted, to be honest. This spray is relenting, but it's still not dries. I've got to be honest, it's still not dries out on track as LMN is in! LMN, the race leader, is into the pit lane. This is going to be costly, I think.
He's gone on to a set of the mediums, and I think that's going to be the choice for everyone. Mediums to the end, as Matt Tibos is also in.
Yeah, Matt Tibos is in. I'm not surprised, to be honest, with Matt Tibos, but LMN from the race lead into the pit lane. CR7 fighting with Jack down and towards turn 1. And LMN is going to be right in the mix of this as well. LMN is literally going around the outside, but look, he's literally speeding offline. It's not dry yet. LMN, this has lost him the race. This has lost him the race.
It's unfortunate for LMN. Yeah, I think we are just a little bit too early for the dry tyres. You can see he's losing time
now,
to CR7.
Within the next 30 seconds, it's going to be dry. Within the next 30 seconds, you're going to see DRS enabled on the bottom, and you're going to see dry running out on track, because the spray has just literally gone within the last half a lap or so out on track. So these guys have got to come in realistically now. Count up how many seconds I've just said, by the way. 30 seconds. Mad Jonas is coming down into the final corner. Is DRS going to be enabled around now? This will be costly. And Mad Jonas actually in. Mad Jonas is in, so he must have been told by Jeff, Tiona stays out. Tiona stays out. Wesker stays out. TDB is in. TDB is into the pit lane. And Mad Jonas now. I think this is a smart strategy for Mad Jonas. He's going to lap further. And look where LMN is. LMN's losing time to CR7. LMN 3-second penalty as well. He nearly spun coming out the final corner. And look at Mad Jonas. Mad Jonas nearly lost it coming out the pit lane, but he's absolutely miles ahead. It's about 3 seconds coming out the pit lane. Spears off on the racing line slightly, but Mad Jonas is 3.5 seconds clear of LMN. And that's what an extra lap on a set of inters will do to you.
Yeah, not only that, it still doesn't look dry enough yet. He's losing time to Noisy, so this could be an opportunity for Tionis and Wesker to really get onto the back run.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
There we go, now it's changed. Now the dries are starting to come into play.
Yeah, we're at the crossover period. TDB's catching Callboy. He's not really catching him that much, though. It'll be Mad Jonas and Noisy, I think, the ones to watch. DRS now enabled. DRS now enabled, and to be honest, it's not that bad. Funky Chicken, round coming through turn 2. He spun, I think, maybe with contact with Vettel, possibly, but Jonas is now into the pit lane from the lead of the race. Mad Jonas is down through the kink at 12, running into the final corner. Jonas, for me, is going to be about 2.5 seconds behind. He hasn't been held in the pit lane, which is an advantage, but he's going to be well further behind, actually, than Mad Jonas. He's going to be behind LMN.
We'll have to wait and see as Jonas exits the pit lane.
Easily ahead.
Now. Yeah, LMN easy ahead, but yeah, I mean, the gap is definitely a lot closer.
It is a lot closer, out on track. Yeah, TDB as it was 2 seconds beyond that thin line coming out the pit lane. Literally gains you 2 seconds out on track, and that's the difference between Noisy and TDB coming out side by side out on track. Well, let's dissect what just happened there in terms of the pit stops as Funky Chicken speeds into the pit lane. I think that might be him done. Magnus is in, Sway's in as well into the pit lane. Mad Jonas, though, leading the way out on track. He was net 3rd, 4th before the pit stops, and he's now nearly 4 seconds clear of LMN.
I think he was net second at the point where he came into the pits, because obviously Sway getting that contact dropping through the field. But now Now Sway has that front wing, and now we're going to see if Sway can start to drag himself up the order a bit. I mean, he's got a lot of work to do, but he's rapidly closing onto the back of Kuliboy.
Oh, as you say that, he's just picked up a 3-second time penalty. Out on track has Sway. So unfortunate. Noisy's right on the back of Wesker, and now look at the fastest lap's been set. This is only going to fall, and I mean there, Matt Tibos with a 15.4, and he's on 3 lap old mediums, and he just came in and set that, and he is catching Jack as well. Jack, the brick, just ahead of him. TDB, first 3-second time penalty of the evening, and that's coming out through turn 4. Matt Tibos still on the back of Jack, and yeah, he has got back into the session, which is good. And in fact, actually, he didn't lose any positions from him losing connection, apart from Jack, who is now, what, 9th up to 7th, basically. And Matt Tibos, that loss of connection and him rejoining the session pretty much at the point he did, hasn't really lost him that much time at all.
I think the only problem for Matt Tibos is that he took a gamble because he lost connection, and he came into the pits at the same time as LMN, who obviously they both went in a bit too early, and yeah, that's put him behind Jack. Jack now fitted at the right moment. He's 4 seconds ahead of CR7.
Here's Noisy on the back of Wesker running down in towards turn 1. Noisy down on the inside line. He's going to have the car in. And Noisy, very reminiscent of Mexico last season between him and Gary, making contact. He's still on the outside line. Oh. They're still contacting him. Wesker nearly forcing him in towards the wall, and he still tries to go side by side, and that's what you get if you try and make a move like that. Wesker just slams the door shut, and rightfully so, I think. Noisy tried really aggressively to get that move done. Very, very similar and reminiscent of that battle with Gary, where he nearly put Gary in the wall on the final lap of the race in Mexico last season. Noisy just got to calm it down for my liking.
Yeah, Noisy out on track, and that's allowing TDB to close right up purple middle sector there for TDB. According to the game, I'll just verify that on
yeah, he's within a second. He's within a second as well, and he's going to get DRS, I think, down the straight. Actually, he's just run out of DRS. Or ERS, I should say, running down the straight. He's not going to be within DRS range this time around. Noisy is, though. Noisy out the final corner is, but he's not close enough. A shocking exit coming out through the final corner, and Wesker pulls away by 0.5 of a second down in towards turn number 1. Mad Jonas is out on top. LMN second, Jonas in third. 2 battles really to watch out for. Noisy and Wesker closest battle out on track. Matt Tibos and Jack quite close as well. Everyone, though, strung out like your mother's washing.
I mean, I know I was talking about dinner plates earlier, but I think that's even worse.
Well, welcome to the madhouse. Noisy on the back of Wesker, 4th and 5th position, out on track, and the Dutchman right on the back of the Austrian, and the Austrian has got good pace about him, but now Noisy, he's got pace. Has he got cleanliness running into the hairpin? He shouldn't really go for this move. Turn 14 is a nigh on possible move for him. TDB, though, is now right on the back, and TDB, really good in terms of his pace out on track, and he is excelling out on track, but has he got the pace to try and get past Noisy? Noisy running in towards the final corner. I don't think he's going to go for Wesker here, and no, Wesker actually loses a run, and Noisy's got a phenomenal run out of the switchback. Beautiful stuff by Noisy. That is how you take the final corner around Canada. Noisy with the switchback, absolutely pinpoint perfection. Noisy is through and he's into 4th. I was criticising his driving earlier, but that was just sublime.
Yeah, and looking at TDB right now, he just does not have the ERS to really launch a meaningful attack on Wesker. He's going to need Noisy to break that 1 second for him to even have a hope at the moment.
I think TDB, though, might have him here. Wesker is now in trouble as TDB right on the coattails of him. He's going to be dragged along into the stream of Noisy as well, but Noisy now pulling away, and TDB wasn't even going to attempt to make that corner. You saw, we were right on board with him there, you saw him cut the corner out on track, But he used the correct line going through there and didn't pick up a penalty as a result. That's what drivers should be doing, and that's what they should do to try and not get a penalty by taking the correct line when they decide to cut a corner. And yeah, you saw, literally, he wasn't going to make the turn 9, and that's why he decided to cut the corner. Matt Jonas still out on top, though. Element in second, Jonas in third. TDB really has got to save on his ERS. He has got to save on his ERS if he's got a chance of taking Wesker, because he's running really at 50% power running down the straight. Matt Tibos right on the back of Jack as well, I was just looking at. But TDB, he's got to save up his ERS. He's essentially got to do one lap on in terms of ERS, one lap off to try and consolidate that energy usage.
Yeah, if I was TDB, I wouldn't be using my ERS, especially on the exit of turn 2, where he was just a moment ago. He just needs to allow Wesker drag him along, save his ERS, because once he gets past him, I think TDB is going to have the pace to pull away, but he's right on the back of Wesker now, and yeah, he just does not have the deployment to really attack at this stage.
I think he will now, though. He's got 20% ERS. He's got to use this about halfway down the straight. Don't use it now. Use it halfway down the straight. However, I might be eating up my own words here, because TDB is now going to go sailing past Shirley on Wesker, side by side down in towards the final corner. TDB has got the move done. Way to make your head commentator eat his own words, and TDB is through, and he's into 5th position. Finally got that move done, but how much has that cost him? It's cost him, essentially, 2 seconds to the back of Noisy.
Yep, and now TDB needs to hope he's got the pace to pull away, because as we know, Wesker, he will have that indicator when he was just passed by TDB. Just see it in the distance, the red light flashing, saying he's got no ERS to really deploy, and Wesker now gonna have to use his to get on the attack.
Jonas catching LMN as well. 0.8 of a second. The Ferrari closing in on the Red Bull. Not surprising, to be honest, because they're both on that set of medium compound tyre. Actually makes me wonder, have these guys came in too early for a set of medium compound tyres? Because I saw it in Division 1 where they were beginning to overwear right towards the end of the race. Have they gone? Nah. I don't think they've gone too early. That's like 20. I'm looking at TAS and it's like 26%. So I think literally what I've just said there. Ignore edit in the edit. Well, not editing that way.
I mean, here's the thing. Right? If I can go from lap 10 all the way to the end on mediums, I'm pretty sure these guys can do it.
Oh, well, 25 laps, what do I know? I mean, my sim racing career is literally down in the bin anyway, so... Anyways, back to the commentary. Matt Jonas out on top, Element in second, Jonas in third. Enough about my sim racing career. Noisy in fourth, with TDB in fifth. And TDB losing time to the back of Noisy. Looking at the damage as well, Sway's got damage still on that right side end plate. I think from earlier on in the race he might have picked up, as he just picks up the new fastest lap of the race. In fact, CR7 now has arrived on the scene though, on the back of Matt Tibos and Jack. And Matt Tibos, again, he's like TDB, struggling to get past. He's got more ERS. Is it just because of a lack of pace that he can try and get through? I'm going to say that now, and he might just try and lunge it here. But no, Jack stays in 7th.
Well, I mean, Matt Tibos did go for a half lunge around the outside to get the better traction, and now he's got to use his ERS. And you see Jack, he used it at the start, and it's not going to matter.
Oh no.
Because here comes Matt Tibos around the outside.
Oh, I thought it was going to be partly side by side through the final corner there actually, but it's not. And Wesker... sorry, Matt Tibos, I should say, wrong Williams. Matt Tibos is through and he's into 7th position. Jack in 8th. CR7 is in a very similar situation though as TDB. TDB is not gaining on Noisy now. He's got a lap older tyres than Noisy. And Noisy, you could argue, is probably trying to catch Jonas. And Jonas is being dragged along. As soon as I've said that though, I think Jonas has just had a major moment coming out through turn 7. And I believe... he rubbed against the wall, but hasn't picked up any damage, which is very lucky.
Yeah, you see Noisy there, that gap just closing down as the sun is now out in Canada, and Noisy's trying to close up to the back of Jonas, and Jonas trying to just stay within DRS, but he's not within it for this lap, and he's going to have a mega lap now to get back within DRS of Element.
We have literally done a full 2011 full circle, to be honest, out on track. We had full wet conditions, then we had inters, and then we had dries. Of course, we haven't had 5 safety cars and a 2-hour break in between, but Matt Jonas leading the way, Element in second, Jonas in third. Where are the moves going to come from? Where are the overtakes going to come? Jack being dragged along still by Matt Tibos, and Matt Tibos hasn't got the pace on the back of Wesker. CR7 and Jack, maybe? That'll be the next overtake.
Yeah, it's definitely looking like that as Jack makes contact with the wall, and here comes CR7 around the outside, down the inside now. Is he going to be able to pull it off? This is fantastic. There's still side by side, Jack fighting back.
How has Jack just fought back there? He's got to get the move done now, CR7 down the straight. And yeah, it's side by side, but I think CR7 is through. Brilliant stuff by the Portuguese man. He is through and he's into 8th, but look at Jack. Still on the back. I was about to say, how did Jack get that move done around the outside through 6 and 7? It was nearly impossible to pull off. I always thought that CR7 had the speed. Speed is telling at the end of the day, and CR7 is eventually through, and he's into 8. But Jack, on his debut, really impressing me tonight.
Yeah, as he's closing up to CR7, he had a little peek down the inside, but doesn't want to go for it. Now it's all about the run out of here, and CR7 has a much better run, and now CR7 can try and stick to the back of Matt Tibos to help him defend from Jack behind.
Colin appreciates the mother's washing comment, by the way, earlier on in the commentary. Just having a look at the chat there. Matt Jonas, though, is still out on top, and we have got 7 laps to go. Vettel is up into 13th as Sway is into the pit lane. I wonder if Sway is going to go for a set of softs in the new fastest lap of the race. I think that's exactly what he's going to do. Repair that front wing, right side end plate damage on the car, and now he will get that front wing replaced. He'll end out in 16th position. Funky Chicken is running down the straight. He'll be ahead by a mile, and Sway now on to set of soft compound tyres. I don't think he's going to get any moves done, but he should get the fastest lap of the race. CR7 right on the back of Matt Tibos, and Matt Tibos is struggling a lot for pace tonight.
Yeah, it makes you wonder just how his connection dropping, how that affected him. Because he came back and he was pretty much at the crossover, and here comes CR7. DRS wide open, gets the move done.
Oh, no, CR7. Oh, I thought, honestly, Matt Tibos was going to have a sensational run out the final corner there. But CR7's through and he's into 7th. Good move.
Now here's the question, can CR7 close up to the back of Wesker? And will Matt Tibos just get dragged along by CR7?
CR7's got the pace to catch Wesker. I don't think Wesker's got much pace about him tonight. Not to belittle the man at all out on the track. CR7, I just think, has got better pace than Wesker tonight. And CR7, look, it's 1.7 seconds, 1.6 pretty much coming down in towards turn 8 and 9. CR7 is quick. He is much quicker on a set of dries than he is on a set of wets. We can say that now. And look at the gap. It's 1.4 seconds, and within 3 laps, I think it'll be moved on.
Yeah, but obviously CR7 gonna want to get past Wesker. They're both equal in terms of penalties, and I gotta think, is that the reason why Matt Tibos didn't really go for it? It's because yellow flag in sector 2.
Vettel round through turn... Quite strange, actually. He lost about halfway down the straight, coming through towards turns 8 and 9. Has he got any damage? I'll have a look on the task system. I didn't see it. I only saw that on the mini-map. I was right on board with Jack on the back, and yeah, he's got no front wing, and Isotopic's also got damage as well. 19% damage for him, the championship leader.
Yeah, it's not been a great day for Isotopic. Well off where we're sitting in this season so far. But one saving grace for him is that TDB's not winning this race.
Yeah, but he is outscoring him in terms of the points. Remember the gap, only a point coming into tonight, and Isotopic is going to be losing that championship lead to TDB in 5th. And TDB can only just stay there. He could just stay there and finish in 5th, and then Isotopic will not be the championship leader going into next week, and we will have a change. Chonas on the back of LMN. Speaking of changes, this could be for 2nd, as LMN is still under pressure. 4 laps to go in Canada. Mad Jonas leading, but that gap Mad Jonas has got an element of control of the race, I'll argue that, but he looks as if he's losing a little bit of time, as Jack and Matt Tibos are going to run side by side, heading towards turn 1, and now Jack repays the favour on Matt Tibos. Good side by side action again. Jack in his one-to-one racecraft has been brilliant all night, and he's just proved that by getting the move done on Matt Tibos, and he's up into 8th. Is the yellow flag in sector 3, and it is Magnus that is round.
Yep, and that is in an awkward spot. Will we see a VSC? Because obviously it's a bit too late now for a safety car.
No damage for Magnus, so he's kept it out the wall, so no VSC going to be deployed. The car is back underway, and he's still in 15th position. Back on board with the battle, coming through the hairpin for second. LMN, Tionis, and don't rule out Noisy. 1.2 seconds off the back. Tionis is on the back of LMN. These two get fighting quite aggressively. Noisy could be to pick up the pieces here.
Yeah, as CR7, he absolutely dropped Matt Tibos. He's already on the back of Wesker. DRS wide open. Not going to make a move going into the final chicane, but maybe into turn 1 as Jack under pressure now from Matt Tibos for P8.
Yeah, just in the background, the shot Matt Tibos is not going to get him. CR7 down the inside line. Can he get the car stopped? No, he can't. He tried a bit for a late lunge there, to be honest. And Wesker still stays in 6th. He had every entitlement to go for the move, but he was never going to get the car fully alongside to complete the move.
Yeah, and he was just a little bit too tight to the corner there. Just did not have the steering angle to really get through there without making a bit of contact with Wesker.
And now, this is opportunity number 2 for CR7 on the back. You can see Wesker just trying to juke from one side to the other, trying to break the toe in behind. Callboy and Isotopic are having a battle as well. They're running through nearly side by side on the mini-map, I can see, coming through 6 and 7. CR7, though, on the back of Wesker. I think we're going to see this kick off big time. Out on track, Callboy closing in on Isotopic. Tries to look to the outside line. Isotopic with that damage, of course. Isotopic now under pressure from Callboy. Speaking of under pressure, Wesker under pressure from CR7. Cuts to the outside line. Wesker trying to cut across late, but CR7 is through. And he's into 6th position. Matt Tibos and Jack are trying to repay the favour as well. And behind, Callboy and Isotopic are getting going. 3 separate battles. 2 laps to go. Mad Jonas leading by 2 seconds. He's got the race pretty much in his back pocket. Callboy and Isotopic are now through. And Callboy is through and he's into 11th. Mad Jonas still leading. Element in 2nd. Don't really like Tionis to try and get going. CR7 has bolted away from Wesker, and Jack and Matt Tibos might be the battle to watch.
Yep, Jack, Matt Tibos definitely getting a bit close out on track, but I don't rule out Jorg being able to catch him if these two start battling.
Yeah, no penalties, 3.2 seconds behind Matt Tibos as well. So it's going to be really intriguing to see how that is all going to unfold. One battle on board with the battle for second. LMN is still catching Mad Jonas out on track. It's because of his ERS usage that he is catching him out on track. He's got 4%. Mad Jonas has got 30% running into the final corner. And Mad Jonas is going to start the final lap of the race. This final tour, 4.3 kilometers in length. Mad Jonas is on course for potential first victory here as Matt Tibos and Jack are side by side, and Matt Tibos is through once again. The yo-yo effect happening between these two. Jack just a bit of oversteer coming out through the final corner, and now toward the line Matt Tibos I think might just have 8th in his back pocket now.
Yeah, and I was just on board with him with a lovely little battle between Funky Chicken and Vettel for P16. Vettel getting the move done on those soft tyres. And yeah, right now, final lap of the race. One big opportunity for Tionis to get the move done on LMN, and that's going to be on the run down into the final chicane. Can the Ferrari get the Red Bull?
He's got to get a sensational run coming out the hip, and he's trying to close up and use and save that ERS as much as possible. It looks to me as if we could be seeing the top 3 as it is. Mad Jonas out on top, LMN second, Tionis in third. Tionis has not got the run on LMN. LMN has bolted coming out the hairpin, 8.5 tenths. I think Tionis is happy now with third. Looking at the penalties, LMN's actually going to lose, I think, his podium spot because Noisy on 3-second penalties will leave them up on the left-hand side. Round the final corner to the line is Mad Jonas. Mad Jonas wins in Canada. LMN's going to be promoted all the way down to 4th. Tionis will finish in 2nd. Noisy up in 3rd. VPTDB is going to be coming across the line to finish in 5th. CR7 with his 15 seconds is going to be dropping down. Wesker goes into 6th. Matt Tibos is is going to gain a hell of a lot of positions here, up into 7th. Jack gets 6th. Jorg gets 6th. 6th might be the favoured position out of track. I wasn't qualifying. Jorg now 6th, Jack 7th, Matt Tibbles 8th, Wesker CR 7, Callboy to the line. Isotopic's going to outscore him massively in terms of the penalties. Isotopic now 11th, Callboy in 12th. A Puny Boy is going to run towards the line to finish in 13th position. And we wait on the rest of the field to come across the line, of course. A Puny Boy now to the line. And he is going to finish in 13th, crashes himself into the wall, sort of swaying behind, understandably slow. Magnus now coming through the final couple of corners, not his day at all. Magnus very unhappy, I think, with his performance, across the line to finish in 15th, Vettel in 16th, and Funky Chicken comes across the line to pretty much get a KFC in the wooden spoon. Oh, he didn't actually, he finished 16th.
I mean, you can still get a KFC. I mean, any time of the day is a good day for a KFC. I'm just saying. KFC at what 9:20 here in the in the UK. Is my mic got stuck there in my linen basket. Typical. But there we are. To the top step of the podium, Mad Jonas has won out on track, and it's his first win of the season, and that is going to promote him right up the standings. Yeah, absolutely fantastic drive there from Mad Jonas. He made the right choices in the changeable conditions. He made the switch to the drives at the right time. LMN going a little bit too early, and after that, Mad Jonas comfortably to the line.
Yeah, Mad Jonas has won out on track, 6th position on the grid, up into the prime spot of first, a 111.3, sorry, his best time. Jonas in second, Noisy in third on the podium, really good move earlier on in the race from him. Element in fourth, with TDB in fifth, Jorg in 6th, Jack 7th, Matibos in 8th, Wesker 9th, CR7 in 10th. He got Driver of the Day awarded by the in-game fans from 17th up to 10th. Isotopic in 11th, Championship leader, now no longer Championship leader. We'll come on to that in just a second. Callboy in 12th, a Beauty Boy 13th, Sway 14th, disappointing from Sway's perspective. Magnus 15th, Funky Chicken 17th. Vettel got the fastest lap. He finished under his own accord, so he gets an extra point for that place as well. And Cam, the only DNF out of what was relatively a very hectic race.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that we didn't even see a VSC here today.
Absolutely typical. You get awarded a safety car for crashing off track, and then you get no VSCs for somebody losing their front wing on the racing line. GG, Codemasters. GG.
Also, I think we may be seeing Bad Tibos maybe a little bit unhappy. I didn't think I saw him pick up a penalty at all, and he was well ahead of Jorg, and he was ahead of Jack crossing the line as well, but finishes behind both of them.
Yeah, Matt Tibos had no penalties, I don't think, coming across the line. He might have picked up a 3-second penalty on the final lap. Have you checked it? There's no penalties.
I checked it. He had 4 warnings, but there was no penalty there.
4 warnings. Now, it looked to me as if it came up on my screen that he had a penalty, but I don't think it did in the final standings. Which is strange. And if that's the case... Yeah, if that's the case, obviously he'll get it removed. It's normally not the case where you get a 3-second time penalty removed. But if there's a glitch in the game and it gives you it, then by all means, I think, remove the penalty for the driver and ensure that he gets his rightful position out on track. That's what I think. Of course, the stewards might have a different view. I'm sure we're going to get our top 3 in as well. Mad Jonas, Noisy, and LMN are going to be joining us in the commentary box, hopefully very soon indeed. I think we've done interviews with all 3 of them so far this season, and I know they have their mic on and everything. So, hopefully, we're going to get them in. And Menno, very happy with Noisy picking up P3. Colin as well, saying, cracking race, well done all. Thank you to myself and Mike for the commentary. No, thank you all guys for tuning in. Honestly, this league is without you guys, the viewers, and it's without these guys, the drivers, and the top 3 are beginning to join us now in the commentary box. We'll wait for them to join, but we will interview Noisy first, because I know he is here. He's in P3, out on track, and Noisy, just first and foremost, sorry for criticising you during the commentary. It was a little bit of a let's just say a dive, trying to get the move done. But you replicated that with a brilliant move later on in the race. P3 for you. How do you think it went?
Yeah, with that dive, I just outbroke myself. Really, just inters were a bit. Yeah, it was like I didn't feel the grip, and I just thought I went for a move, but just broke too late. So yeah, that's indeed my fault. But yeah, rest of race, wet stint very bad. Just had no pace at all. My setup was not made for the wet. Was oversteery as hell during that whole stint, and the medium stint was just flying there. The setup for the mediums was just amazing.
With the set of mediums obviously coming out when they did you feel if there was a couple of laps earlier that you would have got towards the top guys, LMN and Mad Jonas?
Yeah, if I pitted one lap earlier, I would have, of course, made up a lot of time, but I just got the strategy call when I was turning in on the chicane, so yeah, it was a bit too late to react, because I don't want to get any penalties for like correct pit lane entries and everything. Yeah, of course, lost some time there, but for a track where I was really struggling, I'm really happy with P3, so...
Yeah, and of course you are picking up 20 points from tonight's race as well. Put you on 57 running on into next week, of course. Just talk us about that race and the perspective from you and your future ambitions within this league.
Well, yeah, with this race just went good, and with future ambitions, of course, everyone wants to be like at least win the race and then just become champion of the division, but I think first I need to get the race win under my belt before I can really have the hopes of becoming champion of Division 2.
It's not a bad thought to go into, though, being champion of TTML Division 2, trust me. Mike, I'll throw it over to you. Any questions?
Just a one, as usual. I think I have the same question for everyone, so... Obviously, at the start of the race, it was full wet conditions. Wet. Were you surprised on how quickly it went from full wet to inters?
No, I really felt after lap 1 the grip was really improving, and just lap after lap I felt like, oh yeah, track is really improving. Inter's gonna be there really soon. In my opinion, I made the call one lap too late, but not lost too much out of it, but yeah, you can just really feel the grip improving, and you saw the reins getting lighter, and yeah, then just it's Inter soon.
And obviously, another thing, were you tempted at the start to obviously you see the weather forecast now going? Were you tempted to even start on Inters from the start? Because that would have been a huge call.
Yeah, I was thinking for it, but just for 1 second, and then I was like, nah, I'm gonna lose too much on the start. And I think in those 5 laps we were on wets, I would have already lost a pit stop amount of time, and then in the end you would have like struggled with the Inters before going to wets, because mine were already like 50% or something. So no, not really.
Okay.
By the way, I think I'll correct myself. It was Jonas that finished second, not LMN. I just thought I'd say
LMN,
that.
Got a penalty.
I just thought I'd say that. He crossed the line in second, which is why I thought, oh, LMN is not... Why is he not joining the party? And then I went on my PSN app and realised that Tionas finished second. Apologies, LMN. I wish you did finish second without the penalties, of course. But my final question to you... Budapest next week, Hungary, of course. How do you think you're going to get on around there?
Not good. It's not really my track, and qualifying is not my strongest part. And qualifying is almost everything in Hungary, and also the reverse thread. Yeah, it's gonna be a real bore fest, I think.
Borefest. Yeah. I hope it's not the case for us two in the commentary box. I've got to say, it's going to be terrible. But go and enjoy your evening, Noisy.
Yeah, you guys do.
And we'll now move on to the man who has finished in P1 out on track. Jonas, I don't think, joining us. Mad Jonas, we were interviewing you last week, of course, your first podium of the season last week, I should say, in China. First win of the season. You must be very happy.
Yeah, of course. It's a great win. Last week my podium. First, congrats to Noisy and Jonas. They had a very good pace on the medium tires. My quali lap wasn't that good. Yeah, I started P6, I think. Yeah, the wets aren't that good. In lap 5 I go into the pits for inters, and the inters were fast, so fast. I think LMN go one lap later into the pits, and he had a very big gap behind me, I think 4 seconds, and that means a lot. Then I pushed together with LMN, together with to the try conditions. I think lap 16 or 17 the rain ends, and conditions aren't that good for the try sets, but I choose the medium set to drive to the end. I don't know if this was the right opinion. Now can I say yes? Of course, I win the race, and yeah, so it was a very good race. It was a hard race, but yes, it makes a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun, certainly, and we said coming, I think it was lap 5 or lap 6, obviously when the intermediate conditions came, we said in commentary that you would have had a commanding advantage, but just talk us through that medium strategy, going onto a set of mediums. I said in commentary as well, lap 16 and 17, so I'm taking full credit for that as well, with the rain stopping. But just talk us through that strategy. Obviously, you pitted in, I think, the same lap as LMN, if I'm not mistaken, and you excelled, and you were losing time towards the end of the race. Were your tyres just going off, or were you just conserving a bit towards the end of the race?
No, I had 2 warnings at the end of the race, and I don't want to get a penalty at the end. So I don't push that much at the end. And I had a big gap to Noisy and LMN, and yes, that was the reason.
Now we didn't check the race director, so that's probably why then. And really good performance from you, of course, out on track. Mike, I'll come across to you. Any questions?
Yeah, it seemed like you made the right choice on the lap that you pitted for the mediums. I think LMN pitted maybe 2 laps before you for the mediums, and yeah, that cost him. But honestly, on that intermediate stint, you was in the right place at the right time, able to be right behind LMN and Sway. Sway picked up damage, and making that move must have been crucial. Were you worried when you saw that front wing damage fly off towards you as you was coming through?
I don't saw the broken front wing. I saw 1 lap later he was very slow, and LMN flown past him soon, and then a friend called me he had a front wing damage, and yeah, then I pushed a little bit and go with LMN, I think, together.
Yeah, and obviously you didn't pick up a penalty, which around this track is a massive achievement, especially in the changeable conditions as they were. So, massive congratulations and props on not getting a penalty. I think you were one of 3 drivers that didn't pick one up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely insane, I think, for only 3 drivers not to pick up a penalty around Canada. My final question, though, coming to you, Mad Jonas. Of course, Budapest next week. Yeah, Hungary. How do you think you're gonna get on?
Oh, Hungary, I don't know. I think it's a great circuit. But we will see next weekend. I hope we see us together, but I don't think so.
You don't think so? Well, you never know. You've had a podium and a win in a row. Maybe another one? Who knows?
I hope so, but yeah, I don't think so. I hope so, but I don't think so.
I'm gonna end it there. Thank you, Mad Jonas.
Thanks.
And that is Mad Jonas, of course. And we are done then for tonight. TTML Division 2 ending, and we really appreciate, of course, you tuning in. I think we've reached like 28 viewers at one go within the stream, which is phenomenal stuff. Each and every one of you, give yourself a pat on the back. Thank you so much for supporting League Racing TV, and of course you can support us by, of course, donating to our PayPal. All of the investment that goes from our PayPal goes straight back into the league to fund things like the task system, to fund things like Tom and his graphics, and to fund not us, because we do it for free. Well, just leave that thought there in Maze's mind. Mike, I'll come across to you though. Your final thoughts and drive of the day.
Absolutely fantastic race, very challenging race, but it was a fantastic one. A lot of ups and downs in that race, and honestly, it wasn't quite the 2011 race that we was hoping for, but it was still a fantastic race. And honestly, driver of the day, we have to give it to Mad Jonas. I mean, he just made all the right calls in terms of strategy. And making that switch from the inters to the dries, held the lead, commanded the lead, and kept it penalty free.
Yeah, fantastic stuff, and I'm going to agree. Mad Jonas, I think, definitely gets the driver of the day. It's not because he's still in the party we're giving him the driver of the day, but there we are. He does get driver of the day from both of us. Of course, you've got more action to come. Tomorrow night, TTML Division 4, myself and Paco Suarez taking you through the action. Division 5 is Pariah and James Boyle. And then we do it all over again next week for CWC on Monday, TTML Division 1 on Tuesday. Then it's EML. It's not EML F2. I think Wednesday is a night off. Thursday, Division 2 and 3, and then Division 4 and 5 starting up as well once again on Friday night. But that is it for tonight. TTML Division 2 over and done with. I really hope you enjoy your evening, and I really hope you are staying safe in this crazy world that we are all living in. From myself, James Head, and Michael Edwards, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.